This winter has been a difficult one for the Treloar-Prentz family.
It's been so cold, hasn't it? We have the snow.
They're renting a house in the Victorian town of Ballarat. Their heater has been broken for most of the past week.
Yeah, it's gone out again.
Tonight, the temperature will get down to minus 1.5 degrees.
Hey, so pilot light's gone out again.
Oh, really?
Yes.
To heat their house, they've only got one option left. But a broken heater is just the start of their power woes. With 5 children, their power bills are through the roof.
So I pay $60 a fortnight, or $65 a fortnight towards gas, but I still have an outstanding account of $837. But for electricity, I pay something like $45 a fortnight, and I've got outstanding $344, I think it is. And having those big bills, it just means we have less freedom to be able to take the kids out for lunch or go out to dinner ourselves or, you know, buy the kids a new pair of shoes at the drop of a hat. You know, we might need to save.
It may seem unlikely, but this family live in a renewable energy hotspot where wind and solar farms are supplying energy to the entire electricity grid for next to nothing. There are half a dozen wind and solar farms in Western and Northern Victoria, supplying cheap power to the whole electricity network. And there are dozens more renewable energy projects in the pipeline. But Victoria has an outdated system of high-capacity electricity transmission lines that was designed around coal-fired power stations. The lower capacity lines across much of regional Victoria will only be able to transport a fraction of the electricity all these new renewables projects will produce.
We should have seen this coming. We should have seen that we were going to get towards these sorts of constraints back in 2007.
Green energy analyst Tristan Edis tracks all the renewable projects being developed across Australia. He's identified so many, both existing and in the pipeline, he claims they could eventually meet the electricity needs of the entire country.
It's huge. Essentially, all of the electricity that we currently consume could be produced through renewable energy. In fact, we could start exporting electricity. We have some of the best resources in the world.
But he's worried the ageing electricity transmission lines in regional Australia simply can't carry all the renewable power that's coming online, from where it's produced to the places that need it.
We're already seeing substantial constraints in probably the areas where we have some of the best wind and solar resources. They include areas around northern Queensland, northwest Victoria, and large areas of New South Wales are constrained, but we also see issues in Western Australia as well.
It is a bit rough. We are going through a transition, probably the most significant transformation in this industry that it's ever gone through.
Within the last 2 months, 48 wind and solar projects have been switched on, and there's another 170 in the pipeline. At the same time, new forecasting says there's an urgent need for more spending on transmission infrastructure to avoid energy price spikes and blackouts.
We have lots of resources that are sitting in Queensland that we can use in Victoria. What we're missing is transmission.
This is the massive Caradoc solar farm in Victoria's far northwest. Its 300,000 solar panels produce enough energy to power about 40,000 homes.
The fact of the matter is that renewable energy is like the cheapest energy there is.
David Shapiro says Australia's outdated transmission infrastructure is beginning to hold back the boom in cheap renewable energy.
At the moment we've been able to put in most of the renewable energy that's available to go in, but there's many more projects to go in, so the transmission infrastructure is filling up and it's providing more and more electrical challenges.
The transmission capability we have in some of these regions just isn't enough to accommodate the renewables, and so we do have to change the regulatory process to make sure that when we identify an opportunity and a need to build transmission, we can do it much quicker than we have had in the past.
Money is being spent on network upgrades. But the companies that build and maintain the electricity infrastructure are still dealing with the fallout from spending billions of dollars on so-called gold-plated poles and wires.
If you go back just 2 or 3 years, a significant number of stakeholders were complaining that we'd built too much in the energy network space, and many of those now those same people are now saying we haven't built enough. So we can't have it both ways. There's either too much network or there's not enough.
Fairly recently, the energy network companies, as you mentioned, were accused of massive overspending on poles and wires. Do you now think that more spending is necessary to upgrade transmission in regional Australia?
There's no doubt that unless we get wind and solar and storage facilities built right next to coal-fired generators, we are going to need more network to get wind and solar generation to market as this transition occurs.
The Humbert family live in Wagga Wagga in New South Wales. It's another part of Australia where renewable energy projects may soon be pushing the boundaries of the old-style network. They live in a new, energy-efficient house. Despite this, their electricity bills are still a problem.
Yes, I have had bill shock, 100%. We get them every 3 months and it arrives and you dread opening the envelope. We're certainly talking, $700-800 mark for electricity only.
As a real estate agent, Adam Humbert says the locals he talks to are feeling the pinch of high power bills.
It doesn't matter whether you're a retiree or a young family man like myself, the power prices are exceptionally high.
While families struggle with high bills, the network is slowly transitioning to a system that can better cope with the cheap renewables that could bring prices down.
There's always an ability to look back and say, oh, I wish I could have done that. That to me at this point is a bit of wasted energy. I think what we really need to be doing is looking at the reality of what we're confronting right now.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.